So as you can see here, Gukesh starts with the Caro-Kann defense, which is interesting. And here Sindarov goes for d3. And guys, this complete setup is known as the Caro-Kann defense endgame variation. Yes guys, that's the variation. Because of its strategic intent to, simplify the position and transition into a symmetrical endgame with equal chances for both players. Now Gukesh develops his queen on c7, and after that some captures happens on d5, c4. He's immediately putting pressure on that d5 square. So to defend this, knight to f6, Gukesh just develops his knight with a tempo. Knight to c3, Sindarov puts pressure on the pawn, so that's why e6, which also opens the diagonal for this dark square bishop. g3, preparing for bishop to g2, bishop to b4. Here Gukesh wins the knight, bishop to g2, and you can see he's preparing to castle. Okay, so as you can see, Sindarov is targeting the queen, so that's why queen to a5. And by this, you can see Gukesh now putting immense pressure on the knight on c3. But Sindarov just takes on c4, and now some takes, queen takes c3 check, knight to d2, e5, attacking the bishop. But Sindarov just ignores the threat and he goes for rook to c1 because he's now attacking the queen. So this queen has to move, and Gukesh brings it on a5, bishop to g5, and you can see he's threatening to capture the pawn on capture the knight on f6 so that he can shatter the black king side pawn structure. So bishop to g4. Here Gukesh attacks the queen, so queen to c2. And since Sindarov is now threatening bishop takes b7, so that's why and you can see here Sindarov shatters the king side structure, and now he jumps his knight on e4, targeting the weak f6 pawn, and Gukesh defends it by king to g7, f4, and you can see he wants to rip open the center and also preparing to push f5. But before that, Gukesh pushed f5, attacking the knight and stopping white's plan, knight to g5. And you can see now Sindarov is eyeing the h7 and putting pressure on the e6 bishop. Yup. So now Gukesh pushed e4. He shuts the diagonal of this light square bishop and also covers the f3 square so that this knight can't come back. But guys, that's an inaccuracy, because by pushing the pawn, black also opens the diagonal for this light square queen. For this queen, and now it can anytime give a check from b2 square and grab this b7 pawn. Instead, after knight to g5, okay, so let me go back. Here the best move for black is to go for rook at a goes to d8, preparing for rook to b2 so that he can target the queen. So let's suppose if white goes for queen to b2, let's suppose if he's eyeing that b7 pawn, now queen to c5 check. Okay, what's the problem? Just king to h2, and after that bishop takes c4, queen to c2, putting pressure on the bishop. So how can white now defend this bishop? So how can black defend this bishop? I know majority of you would definitely go for the move which is b5, but guys, in reality that's losing because of queen takes f5, and you can see now the pressure on this h7 pawn is immense. So that's why after queen to f5, so let me go back. Yeah, so after this move, queen to c2, here the best move for black is to push e4. And guys, the idea is after queen takes c4, queen takes c4, rook takes c4, h6, and you can see now this knight is trapped. So that's why after knight takes e4, f takes e4, rook takes e4, rook to d2, and after all of the traits, you can see black rook is super active on the second rank, which clearly shows this position is perfectly fine for black. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move e4, yep, so after this move, here Sindarov gives a check from b2 square, king to g8, king to h2. And guys, now let's see what will happen if black pushed h6. And if he now attacks the knight, now comes queen to f6. Then the idea is after black captures the knight, queen takes g5 check, king to h7, queen to h5 check, king to g8, and you can see now white has a perpetual check, forcing a draw. So that's why after king to h2, here Gukesh doesn't go for the attack. He goes for queen to b6, defending the b7 pawn as well as asking for queen exchange, which obviously would be beneficial for black because after the exchange you can see black will get this open a file. So that's why queen to e2. Sindarov declines the trade, and after that Gukesh centralizes his queen on d4, which increases the range of the queen as well as defending on g7. I mean, it stops any idea like queen to h5 with the idea of queen takes h7, and yep. So that's why, so guys, now to open the structure, Sindarov decides to give up his knight with knight takes e4, hoping that after f takes e4, now the paths for this kingside pawn are open. But that's a mistake because even though the lines are the lines are opened, this is still better for black because of the material advantage. I mean, here Sindarov decides to now continue with h5, bishop goes to c8, rook at c goes to d1, he attacks the queen, queen to f6, queen takes e4, and now it seems like that Sindarov is dominating the board, and Gukesh already knows that. So that's why he decided to play rook to d8, trying to exchange much pieces as possible, so that basically he can get into an endgame where he will be a piece up. And you can see now he is threatening to swing the rook to g4 with a deadly check. So to stop this, h5, but queen to e2. Sindarov is now targeting the h5 pawn, but guys, that's a mistake because here Gukesh finds the best move, bishop to d7, allowing white to play queen takes h5, knight to c6. He just opens the space for the rook, and this rook can anytime swing on the h file. And now Sindarov can give a check from g4 square, but instead he goes for rook to h4, preparing queen to h7, check. But guys, that's an inaccuracy because black can easily deal with this by bishop takes f5, which also covers the h7 square. But Gukesh is like a ice. I mean, he goes for rook to e8, and the idea behind this move is that after Sindarov gives a check from h7 square, black king can run to f8 and then to e7, which also supports the rook. But surprisingly, Sindarov gives a check from the wrong square, which is g4. King to f8, Gukesh just slides his king back, queen to f4. But guys, that's a multi-purpose move by Sindarov. I mean, queen to c7 is possible with the idea of attacking the bishop, and also rook to h6 is possible, which is going to target the queen. But Gukesh infiltrates his rook with rook to e2, and yeah, so basically now you can see he's targeting also on this a2 pawn, and queen to f3. And you can see Sindarov is now attacking the rook because he doesn't want that. So, but rook takes a2, and here queen to b3 is possible, by which white can recover his pawn. But instead, queen to e3. Maybe he wants to exchange the queen so that he can reduce some pressure, but queen to b2, threatening mate on g2. So Sindarov gives a check, king to e8. He gives another check from h8 square. Queen takes h8, rook takes h8, check, king to e7, g4, a5, king to g3, a4, rook to a8, a3, h4, knight to e5. Gukesh targeted the pawn on c4, and let's suppose if white goes for any move like bishop takes b7, rook to b2, attacking the bishop, and if bishop to e4, knight takes c4, and at the end you can see black has a monstrous pawn on the a file, which is you can see very close to promotion. Okay, so in the actual game, after knight to e5, here Sindarov goes for bishop to d5, centralizing the bishop, and also threatening the move like he can anytime push this pawn, which also targets the rook. But Gukesh just goes for bishop to c6, asking for bishop exchange so that he can target the bishop. But bishop takes f5, c takes d5, rook to a1, preparing to give a check from back rank. h6, rook to g1 check. Sindarov so basically Gukesh now gives a check, so king to f4, and you can see now he is attacking the knight. And guys, let me tell you something crazy. Okay, so as of black, what will you play here? Since this knight on e5 is attacked, black will obviously defend it with the move f6, which is actually played in the game by Gukesh, and now he is preparing for rook takes g4 check. But guys, what if I tell you that after king to f4, here the best move for black is to sacrifice the knight with rook takes g4 check. And guys, the idea is after king takes e5, the move f6 will be a mate. How can Gukesh miss this insane move? Okay, so in the actual game, after the move f6, here Sindarov pushes h7, threatening to promote to a queen, but rook takes g4, check, king to e3, knight to f7. And in this position, Javokhir Sindarov resigned, because let's suppose if this game continues like rook to a7, let's suppose if he tries to attack the b7 pawn, rook to b4, okay, rook takes a3 check, rook to h4, and if he tries to so basically Gukesh now can simply attack the pawn, and if white tries to attack the b7 pawn, what about knight to d6, and if rook to a8, rook takes h7, but simply you can see now Gukesh is targeting this weak pawn, king to f4, but what about rook to h5? And guys, now just look at this position. Black is a clear knight up, and this queenside pawn will eventually roll down into the board, which clearly shows that this is completely winning for black. What an amazing comeback by Gukesh, and he makes a statement to the world that the World Championship is not going to be easy. Like this video, and I will see you in the next one. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.